Welcome to Uncle Bob's Magic Cabinet, a mother-daughter podcast on all things magic and pop culture. Three, two, one, and we're on.
We are on.
What's going on?
What's happening?
Nice, thank you. Hey everyone, I'm Leigh, I'm the daughter.
I'm going to talk and sing song today.
Yeah, introduce yourself.
I'm Lori, I'm the mom.
Nice.
God dang.
Are you very sing-songy today?
I'm sing-songy.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So what's new? What's happening?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I don't know where I am.
I got a new piece of news.
Do you?
Yes.
Yeah?
Me and Jake have been doing ab workouts, which is something new for me.
Yes, not for Jake.
He's been doing them. I'm like, maybe it's time I should move my body.
Are we filming this?
Oh, God, no. Dear God, no.
How's it going?
I look like a fish out of water. Well, first of all, it's really entertaining because the video, it's called 8-Minute Abs, and it's like from the 80s. So they're in like 80s workout clothes.
Oh my gosh.
And they have the hair. So that,
Are there leg warmers?
There are leg warmers.
Yes.
So it gives you a chuckle while you're in pain.
Yeah.
So right now my abs hurt really bad. Like every time I laugh, I'm like, because I have not done, I don't think I've ever done an ab workout.
I don't think I've ever
I'm going to be honest.
exercise.
I'm going to be honest with all of you. That doesn't happen around here with me. So yeah, that's something new.
All right, cool. So how do you feel when you wake up in the morning?
In pain. Just pain. And
Are you feeling a sense of accomplishment?
I do actually.
Yeah,
I do kind of feel good. And the other thing where he's trying to help me get my shoulder strong. So I don't think we've talked about this. I tore my rotator cuff a few years ago and I had to have 2 surgeries. I forget that sometimes. Like the first guy screwed it up.
It's all over a Brazil nut.
Okay, yeah. So let me break this down. You know, we used to work at Whole Foods Market.
Yeah.
I worked in the bulk department, so there was a lot of heavy lifting. And so I was some nuts,
Dirty.
some heavy nut lifting. So there I am on the step ladder, you know, and I happen to be refilling the Brazil nut bin. She loves this story. It gets her every time. And this guy comes to ask me a question. You know, it seems like a great time. I'm lifting like, you know, a 25-pound bag of nuts.
I think it was a 50-pound bag.
It probably was. I had no business doing that because, again, do not work out. It's not like I'm muscular. Anyway, lifting the nuts over the melon. This guy comes up and he's like, I don't know, what kind of nuts you got there? And I turned to look at him and I literally, when I say I heard it go poop,
ping,
and
like a rubber band.
Nuts everywhere.
Oh no.
So the nut incident.
Did you follow of 2017? Was it the 30-second rule?
What, did I pick them back up? I'm going to pick these back up. Absolutely not. You have nothing to worry about if you shoved it at Whole Foods. So yeah, it popped and then I had one surgery to repair it. The guy kind of actually screwed it up more and then I had another one. So all thanks to some Brazil nuts. So my arm, when I say it's like a limp noodle, I mean, it's literally like, and they told me like I'd never be able to reach over my head again. Yeah. And so Jake is trying to help me, like
he's trying to prove those wrong.
Yeah, he's trying to weight train me, but he told me I couldn't start with weights. So I'm using a can of refried beans. So he's over there with, you know, like 20-pound weights, like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, my fucking beans.
A can of refried beans.
Yeah, so I feel really great, really sexy, really strong.
Oh no.
So that's new.
Well, maybe it will, because, you know, every time the weather changes, you like
Yeah, I'm like that girl in Mean Girls where she's like, there's a 90% chance it's going to rain. My shoulder starts to ache like I'm 85 years old.
No.
And I can tell when there's like a change in the pressure.
Yeah. Great. You're falling
Added
apart.
to the list of why Leigh is so sexy and attractive. My God. Why do I tell people these things? Ew. So
Anywho's it.
maybe I'll try to take a picture with my refried beans.
Just, oh my God, we got to get you some leg warmers. And spandex.
I can recreate the 8-minute abs video with my beans
Oh my
and
God.
my leg warmers.
You need a scrunchie and some leg warmers.
I think I have a scrunchie.
Some hot pink and black.
Wow, that sounds like
Spandex.
my color combo.
Yes.
Sign me up.
A sweatband.
A
Remember those?
sweatband. Yes, I do.
Terry cloth sweatband.
Yeah, like, did those even do anything? You tell
They
me.
soaked up the sweat. I don't know. I never wore one.
Why would you want your sweat like just no, but I'll get one. I'll get one for this.
Do it, girl. Do it. Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry.
Hacking up a lung
After
there.
cough. So yeah, anyway, that's what's new with me.
Great, great.
You got any fun news?
I don't. No, I am taking midterms this week. So,
Look at you little school lady.
yeah, and I feel like my brain is going to explode. And I think I'm too old for this.
You're not. You got this. Everyone, send Laura some good vibes. She's going to ace her midterms.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm like, my brain just, what did you just ask me before we started? You're like, is there something wrong with you?
I know. I was like, are you slipping?
Are you
You're
slipping?
right. She has a favorite type of gin. It has been her favorite type of gin for years. And I said, we got this for you.
And I
She's
was like, what's that?
She goes, that's not my favorite. I was like, yes,
Oh
it
my
is.
God. Didn't look like the right bottle. I don't know. What the hell? Who am I? Where am I? I don't know.
It's okay, honey.
You're like, is there something wrong?
you slipping?
Making it more than usual.
You got this. You can do it.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So you said your topic's long, mine's a little long. So
Okay.
I think we're just
gonna dive right in.
we're gonna take a dive.
Okay.
I am going to do American Horror Story
Yes.
Coven.
Right. Right.
How do you feel about this? We watched it together,
We did.
but like last year, we were a little late to the party.
We were late to the party. I think when we watched the first season when it first came out, and I thought, oh, this is interesting. This is different. And then what was the second season? Was it the Carnival?
No, the second season was Asylum. So here's my thing, and I'm going to give some disclaimers. I have a love-hate relationship with American Horror Story. Like, I think that a lot of the characters, like I think it's Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk, the guys who did Glee
Right.
and Nip Tuck and all of that stuff. I think that they're really good at writing great characters. However, their plot lines often I'm like, not for me.
Yeah,
and there's always
right.
like a trillion of them and it's hard
Yeah,
to follow.
right.
And they're very like torture porn.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, yeah.
they lose me a lot. I'm just
Right.
going to start out saying that. So that's why we were so late
It's
to the
like,
game.
Then you get hooked in though. Like,
yeah, I mean, because I think that if
well, I
she's
think,
like, you get hooked into the porn.
Once you start with that porn.
Well, yeah, that's it. But I think like when I first tried to start watching them, I was like, no, I don't think this is really for me.
It's
but
unsettling.
But then when we were on the first lockdown,
We went through and watched them all.
we were like, what the hell else are we going to do? And we watched them and I was like, oh, these are pretty good, you know?
Yeah. So I think so if you have not seen American Horror Story, each season is a different quote unquote horror story. It's considered a horror series. And like the first one is about a haunted house, and the third one, which I'll talk about today, is about a witch coven, and the one is about, a carnival act. And so it's very interesting. I'll give it to them. There is some good writing. They do make a lot of oopsie daisies, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I did want to say before I start out, there are a lot of mixed reviews about this coven. So it dropped in 2013.
Okay.
And like I said, focuses on witches. So real life witches were not
Keen on
really a fan of this. They thought that it portrayed witches in like a stereotypical kind of
Okay.
gimmicky way.
Okay.
in my opinion, you know what you're in for when you're going to watch American Horror Story, right? So if you've never seen this and you're thinking about it, just kind of know when you're going in that it's like, it's campy. Like it's supposed to be campy horror.
Because I was going to ask you, like, what is your favorite season? And I mean, I liked the campy 80s horror movie
I liked the campy 80s.
with Mr. Shu.
Yeah, the one they just released was 80s themed, and it fit well because their writing is so campy.
Yeah.
So that whole 80s horror aesthetic fit. I didn't mind this one. I don't think that it was, anything fantastic. There were some good moments, and we're going to talk about that today. I did want to say that there are some issues, and I want to address it. Okay. Because I don't want it to seem like we're condoning that, because we're not. There are some issues regarding race and the representation of people and witches of color in this show. I do not feel like it is necessarily my place to speak on that. It is regarding the representation of one specific character. However, I will say that while watching it, I was like, a little uncomfortable. Like you'll pick up on it. Okay. And also in American Horror Story fashion, like we just said, sexual assault is kind of used as like a plot device, and I'm never a fan of that. Yeah. But again, knowing what it happens in every season, so kind of just a little warning. Yeah. That aside, there are some good moments.
There's some good points.
So let me enlighten you about those.
Dive on in.
Okay, so the cast is kind of star-studded. Again, if you don't know American Horror Story's shtick, it's the same cast in every season, but they're playing different people.
Different characters.
Right. Yeah. So Sarah Paulson is Cordelia Fox, and I think she's a fantastic character. Taja Farmiga, oh geez, is Zoe Benson. Frances Conroy is Myrtle Snow.
Ruth Fisher.
I love Frances Conroy.
I love her. She's such a great actress.
And her character, again, I love her character. Great, Evan Peters is Kyle Spencer. Lily Rabe, or Rob, not sure, is Misty Day. Gabourey Sidibe is Queenie. Emma Roberts is Madison Montgomery. Jamie Brewer is Nan. Jessica Lange is Fiona Good. Angela Bassett is Marie Laveau. And Stevie Nicks is Stevie Nicks. So
yes, Stevie Nicks plays herself.
Stevie Nicks comes in.
I just listened to that
Stevie
song
Nicks
today.
What? The Seven Wonders. Yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about.
Cool.
So I'm going to give you a very, very short rundown of the plot because this is a TV series. Yeah. It is available on Netflix right now and I think Hulu. So if you're looking for something to watch, there you go. Again, rundown is very short because I want to focus on one specific element. And like I said earlier, there are like 9,000 plot points in this series. Yeah. It would take me hours.
Yes, right.
So,
yeah.
You're like,
I'm like,
you're like, don't do it.
I'm trying to go back in my mind. Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah. So I like watched a recap just to, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot there's so much stuff happens in this one series. It's only 13 episodes. Woo. Yeah. They sure do shove a lot.
Yeah, they do. In every one of the seasons, really.
Right. It's action packed.
It is.
So the rundown is there is a house in New Orleans. And it is run by headmistress Cordelia Fox. And she trains and teaches witches how to harness their powers. So the idea is taking in young witches that maybe at first didn't know they were witches or, don't have their together and train them into, to be members of the Coven.
Functioning witches.
Functioning witches. Yes. Did I mention that this was called Coven? I did.
It is called Coven.
Oh, it's the 3rd season too.
Oh,
I think I forgot to say that. Okay, anywho, many different powers are shown and discussed throughout the series. So the one character, Nan, is clairvoyant. Queenie calls herself the human voodoo doll. So she can, if she causes herself pain, you could feel it, but she won't. So say she wants to get at you, she'll, stab her hand and you'll feel it.
Oh, but she won't.
But she won't, and she heals herself. So human voodoo doll. Yeah. Madison is telekinetic. We've talked a lot about that on this podcast. Cordelia Fox works with plants.
I know.
So I feel like you should do her.
I probably could because I do. So again, it's been a long time since we've seen this. So But I always, when you said you were doing Coven, the first thing that comes to my mind is asafoetida.
Okay.
Because she's in the greenhouse using asafoetida, which is referenced as the devil's dung, is what it's called because it smells so bad. But
smells like poop.
Asafoetida, yeah.
Yeah, so she I think it was in the basement or something. She has all of these plants and it's very magical. So like I said, there are cool moments like that where they are using actual craft elements. Voodoo is also discussed through the character Marie Laveau. Cordelia's mother, Fiona Good, is the Supreme. So the Supreme is a once-in-a-generation leader of the witches.
The Coven?
Yes.
Of the Coven?
Or I think essentially all witches. She's like the high priestess.
Okay.
Okay, she's like the head witch in charge.
Yeah.
She has you can tell that she's the Supreme because she's very healthy.
Okay.
So say she was sick and then she is named the Supreme. She will be healthy like that.
Yeah. So she could be 200 years old and still be like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she has all of the power. Okay. But as that Supreme begins to die, the next Supreme begins to rise.
Okay.
So there's a transference of power there. And so that health and beauty will start to fade and move into the next Supreme.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so here's where the long story gets very, very short because don't have time. Fiona, the Supreme, is believed to be dead at one point. So there has to be another Supreme.
Right.
Usually the outgoing Supreme identifies her successor, but Fiona didn't do that. Okay.
Which did she not want to concede?
She did not. She was like, I ain't going out, man. Does that sound familiar? No. Ring a bell? Anywho, she didn't want to go out. She was fighting it kind of hard, and she was actually trying to identify who the next Supreme was and take them out so that she did not have to concede.
Oh, wow.
So
there you go.
Anywho, at one point, she is believed to be dead. But because she didn't name the next Supreme, they have to do a series of tests with the witches in the Coven to figure out who the Supreme is.
Okay.
Okay, so the tests are called the Seven Wonders. Okay, and this has never been done in the history of this Coven where they had to do these tests to name the Supreme.
Okay.
The witches in this, doing these tests are Misty Day, which I love her character.
Is she the one that was
She's the one that's obsessed.
Southern? Was she Southern?
She lived in a swamp and
in
she
the
was
bayou or something. Yeah.
and she's obsessed with Stevie Nicks and she's just so peaceful and loving and I love her. So Misty Day, Queenie, Zoe, and Madison are who they're the ones taking this Seven Wonders test.
Okay.
Most witches have multiple powers, but the Supreme is the only one that will be able to do all seven of these tests.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, so if you do all of them, you prove that you are the Supreme.
Okay.
This is giving all four of the girls a chance to prove their powers and prove that they are the Supreme, which again, only one will succeed. So I wanted to talk about the Seven Wonders because as much as that series, like I said, there were some problems with it. I don't think that it was the most fantastic thing I've ever watched. There were some cool moments, but I really liked this aspect of it.
Yeah.
I thought it was neat.
Right.
Okay. So the Seven Wonders is the title of the 13th episode, and it's the season finale.
Yes.
Okay. And they're taking these tests. So the first of the tests is telekinesis.
Okay.
So that you have to prove, we've talked about telekinesis in Carrie, and I think we talked about it last week with Matilda.
Yes.
So you can move and manipulate things with your mind, right? So the girls must focus on a candlestick and move it towards them with their minds. And it is noted that this skill in particular is all about intention. So you have to focus your intention on the object and it will come to you.
Okay.
The second is concilium, which is known to the public as mind control. This is noted...
Cage and Jables. It's mind control, Tenacious D. That's the first thing that came to my mind. All right.
Oh, my God. No, No, they say that's telekinesis.
It's telekinesis, Kyle.
Oh my God. If you like Tenacious D, you will pick up on that reference.
Jeez.
So Concilium is noted to be one of the trickiest of the 7 tests.
Okay.
It allows you to bend the strongest of wills to your desire. So like I could make you, I don't know, punch yourself in the face if I wanted to.
Jeez.
You're basically
Tell
manipulating
me how you're really
someone.
feeling, Leanne.
Go sock yourself in the face.
I'm feeling some...
Hey, you know what? I use that as an example because that's what they do. In the tests, they make each other, slap themselves and pull their own hair, and that's how they prove,
Okay.
The third is dissensium. Oh, this is not good for someone who
Dissensium?
cannot pronounce words. Dissensium. Did I get it? Okay.
Sounds good.
This is moving your soul to hell and then returning it to your body. Okay. If you don't return your soul, you will get stuck in hell and die. But what I found interesting about this is that hell will look different to everyone. It's not like, you go down and it's red and fiery and you're hanging with the devil.
Yeah.
It's like your own personal hell.
Yeah.
So examples, Queenie is back working at a restaurant that she hates for all of eternity. Mm-hmm. She's just like working in this restaurant because that's her personal hell.
A cubicle from 9 to 5.
That would be yours. Misty Day has to kill a frog in science class over and over because like I said, she's like very sweet and she's like, I can't kill a living thing and no, I won't do it. And so that is her personal hell.
Oh, jeez.
So I thought that was like an interesting little note. Number 4 is transmutation. And it is similar to teleportation. And that's like you're moving from one place to the other instantaneously.
Okay.
So that's fun. They like play tag and they're like jumping all over the place. It's cute.
I think I remember.
Yeah. Number 5 is, Vitalis, A for effort. This is when you're balancing the scales between lung. Yes, that's what I meant. Between one life force and another.
Okay.
The witch transfers her own life force into the nearly dead in order to heal them, and some can even resurrect the dead. So it's like resurrection.
Okay.
Okay, but it's draining to the witch doing it because it's literally it's not like they're just snapping their fingers and the person is. So that's fun. Number 6 is pyrokinesis, the ability to control and create fire with only your mind. So think Sally in Practical Magic when she blows the candle.
Okay.
And that's what they do. They light a candle. They're controlling the element of fire.
Yeah.
And number 7 is divination, which we've kind of touched on, but I want to talk about it some more. Okay, divination is the ability, this is what they say it is, the ability to obtain direct knowledge of an object, person, location, etc. through means other than physical senses.
Okay.
Okay, the dictionary definition is the practice of seeking knowledge of the future or unknown by supernatural means.
Okay.
So for the test, Myrtle Snow hides different objects around the house.
Okay.
Okay, and each witch has to find one.
All right.
To prove that they have this power. So they take a jar of crystals. So each witch has the jar of crystals and they spill them out onto a table.
Okay.
And then they read the crystals to find the object.
Yeah.
Which leads me into kind of what I wanted to
discuss.
What I wanted to discuss today.
Okay.
So my lesson here is divination, but it's crystal throwing. Okay, have you heard of this? Because I haven't. I have not either. Okay, so when I was watching it, I was like, what are they doing there? Because it kind of looked like a form of scrying.
Okay.
Because they dumped the crystals and then they put their hands over it to find an object.
Okay.
So if you recollect back to Charmed, when they're scrying to find a person,
or a place.
Yes. So different forms of divination include tea leaf readings, tarot, scrying, like I said, runes, numerology, automatic writing, etc. Okay. Crystal throwing and lithomancy is kind of what I think they were combining, and a little bit of scrying in this episode. Lithomancy is divination with stones.
Oh, okay.
Or crystals, like you're reading stones.
Okay.
So I believe runes would be considered a form of lithomancy.
Okay.
Don't clock me if I'm wrong. I'm learning here with you. Because I had never heard of that term before either.
No, me neither.
So I know that it's using stones, which is interesting. So I kind of wanted to teach you guys how to crystal throw.
Ooh, awesome.
Okay, so you fill a bag with crystals, stones, or gems.
Okay.
Or
they all have to be the same?
No.
Okay, combination.
Combination.
Different.
It can be a bunch of different crystals. It can be crystal, stones, and gems. It could literally be, I don't know. It could be whatever kind of rock or crystal that you want.
Okay.
I love crystals.
Yes, you have always been the crystal kid.
Yeah, so I find this really fascinating, and I can't believe I didn't know about it, to be honest. So you fill the bag with all different kinds of crystals.
Okay.
And you reach into the bag and grab a handful. And you focus on them, kind of like you do when you shuffle a deck of tarot cards. And then you throw the rocks with intention. And this is why I think this is what they were doing in that episode, because they throw them down.
Okay.
Okay. It is noted that intention is really the key here. Like, you have to focus, you have to take deep breaths, because your energy is going into the stones.
Right.
Okay. You then throw them onto a flat surface, or you can use a grid. So some people can read the stones just as they are.
Okay.
Maybe like, a pro crystal thrower.
Not an amateur.
No, but like, say I want to try it with this grid. And you can find grids online if you Google like crystal throwing grid.
Really?
Yes, you can.
How
It's
can
really,
I don't
you can
know
just
this?
take a piece of paper and draw out different sections with a word in the center of each section.
Saxon.
Each section.
What are you thinking about?
Shut up. It was all that talk earlier. It's gone in my head. Okay. So each section, so examples would be like health or career, future, social, financial, anything that you're really looking to learn more about.
Okay.
Again, there are grids online if you don't want to create your own. So when you throw the crystals out, they will land on this grid.
Right.
So then you take, so say, here's an example. A blue lace agate crystal lands on your love life section.
Okay.
Blue lace agate is connected to healing. Like the stone, blue lace agate, normally indicates healing or protection or like deep emotional healing. So if it lands on your love life section, then you might need to
You got some work to do.
some work to do in there. So you take what the crystal represents and the powers of that crystal, and you compare it to where it lands, and that is your reading.
Interesting.
Isn't that cool?
Yes.
How have we never done this?
I don't know. And typically you're going to choose stones or crystals that you're attracted to anyway.
I mean, that's what I do, but I recognize that not everyone is like, a crystal fanatic. So you can like do some Googling, honestly, or go to your local witch shop. That's a good, time to support small businesses.
Yeah.
And ask them. Like normally witch shops or occult shops like that have like a crystal section. And this is like little tumbled stones, not like anything crazy expensive. And they'll normally tell you what they mean.
Yeah.
Like they'll normally have little cards or something that tell you what they mean, or just ask or give it a Google, and you can get different ones. I personally go and I touch.
Yes,
And
you feel the
I
energy.
feel the energy, and whatever feels right to me is what I grab, and then I'll do some
research
some
on it.
research.
Yeah, that's typically what I do.
But if you're new to this, you can definitely find like a template online, I'm sure, that kind of outlines like some just beginner stones.
Yeah. Remember we used to go to the Appalachian Rock Shop all the time
In
in
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, but they had like a I don't know, like a well or something where you can scoop out and just fill a bag for like $5.
Right, yeah. It doesn't have to be
super expensive.
That's why I think this is cool. And like if you're looking to get into divination and maybe you're not ready for tarot cards or tea leaf readings, this is like something that literally anyone can do.
Oh yeah.
Not that the others aren't, but like this is a good intro, I feel like. like Google beginners crystal, crystal guide, and it will lay out, and then you can order them online, and literally that's an inexpensive divination tool. And I think that is really cool.
Yeah.
Especially as someone who's like more attracted to crystals than herbs or, I'm about to do this and figure my shit out.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Yeah. We have to try that. That would be fun.
I know.
It would be a fun, a party.
Fun Saturday night.
Some party games.
Break out the crystals.
I know. I still want to get a set of those Xenar cards that we talked about in the gift.
Yes.
And that'll be fun too. Oh my God.
We should just have like a divination night.
Oh yeah. That sounds fun.
Because I've never tried and I'm a little embarrassed because we own a tea company. I've never tried to read tea leaves.
I have tried to read tea leaves.
And how did it go?
I'm not good at it.
Yeah,
I actually had a friend who was from New Orleans, and she was a card reader. She's actually who taught me how to read cards, and she's actually the person that gifted me my deck that I still use to read. But she was a tea leaf reader, and she tried to teach me. And sometimes I think there's this innate.
Well, I do feel like that. I feel like you will, everyone's gonna shine in a different way.
Yeah.
Like maybe you're into tarot cards, but you've tried reading them and it's just not fitting you. Maybe try this. Or I feel like you might shine, like you're gonna find your nook. Is that?
I think
your niche, not
your
nook.
niche. You're not your nook. Your niche. Your niche.
Close.
I think that I'm waiting for the right cup and saucer. So back in the day, and I wish I would have grabbed one, and I haven't. And I've seen it on like eBay auctions and stuff, and they're so expensive. But there was this cup and saucer that had the astrology wheel on it, and inside the cup was for tea leaf reading. And man, I wish I would have grabbed one of those.
Way to f up.
I know. Gosh,
son
darn
of
it.
a
The things that you miss out on. But yeah, I feel like that would help you learn to read tea leaves.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like divination is all about trusting your intuition. So just practicing. Like maybe if you don't feel like you're good at it, you have to just keep practicing, and that it's really learning to trust your intuition and trust your gut.
Yeah.
But I think that like crystal throwing, that is anyone can do that, man. Especially with that grid, and then maybe you're training yourself to do it without the grid. I think that's super cool. So look into that. I'm going to be doing it.
Yeah. And you are the crystal kid. So, and I used to teach chakras, and we would go so you had a pendulum, I had a pendulum. Have you scryed before?
No, I have not scryed before.
I have. It's interesting.
Yeah, so scrying is something that I want to talk about in another episode.
Okay, so shut my mouth.
Would you shut the because people might not know what scrying is. Yeah. Scrying is, Jay, can you look up the definition? Because I don't want to butcher it. I believe it's a form of divination looking through a reflective surface is, I believe, how it is.
It can be. It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be, but that's like, so, you see the witch with the crystal ball, that is considered scrying.
Right.
So scrying, also known by various names such as seeing or peeping. Ew. I don't like that.
Peeping.
Is the practice of looking into a suitable medium in the hope of detecting significant messages or visions. Yes. But I did a lot of reading on it today, and a lot of it does say that it has to be a reflective surface like water or like a crystal ball. But you can also do it with like smoke, or you could do it like we talked about.
Yeah, I've done it with like a map.
Okay, yeah,
like trying to find a location.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like going somewhere today, or I feel like going on a vacation, and like scrying.
Oh, fun.
To see where it hits.
Yeah,
down.
That's very charmed of you.
Oh,
I love that. Yeah, so we will talk about scrying, because I think that's fun.
Future.
That's in the future.
I'm
going to need you to back it up now.
Back it on up.
Yeah, so I don't know. There's crystal throwing
interesting.
Via American Horror Story Coven. I think that if you know the mishaps going in, take it for what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't put it on a pedestal. But I think it's a decent watch. I mean, there are some like, they all wear black. And so they must be in a witch coven. Like there's some stupid shit like that. But overall, it's, good for some, I don't know. There's some little nuggets.
shits and gigs.
and the gigs. So yeah, that's American Horror Story Coven. I'm sure we will touch on that at some point.
Right on. Sweet. I love it.
Sweet. All right, you know what time it is.
What time is it?
It's time to hear from our sponsor.
Wonderful.
This episode is sponsored by Grandpa and Chill, a fun new podcast that we know you guys will love, starring Brandon, Sierra, Finus, and of course, Grandpa. Here's the spiel. A grandson sits down to chill with his grandpa and friends, bridging the gap between millennials and the silent generation. Every episode is filled with in-depth conversations and no topic is off limits. Sounds cool, right? Topics range from silly stories to heartbreaking tales and even feature a special call-in guest every episode. If you're looking to sit back, unwind, have a laugh, or possibly a small cry, make sure to check these guys out. Episodes are available everywhere you'd want to listen, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Stitcher. Head to the link in our show notes to give them a listen today. Take it from me, it will absolutely be worth your time. Thank you again to the Grandpa and Chill team. What you got for me, girl?
What you got? Well, I hope you've got a chocolate bar on you.
Oh no.
Did you get a stash? A stash of chocolate?
Chocolat.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about today.
Chocolat.
Chocolat.
Remember when we had an argument? I think we were a little tipsy and I was like, it is not pronounced chocolat, it's chocolate. And you were like, no, it's fucking chocolat.
Chocolat.
It is though.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You were right. I'll give that to you. It's chocolat.
Chocolat. So, yeah, that's what I'm talking about today.
Oh, yay. I'm excited.
I love this movie
It's
so
a beautiful
much.
movie.
I love this movie.
And you know what? A lot of people, I feel like, don't know this movie.
Really?
Or maybe I just wasn't friends with the right people.
Girl, strap in, kids, because
Hey, I'm in the coaster.
if you are looking for, I mean, it doesn't even have to be a holiday movie, but if you're looking for just a fun, I just love this movie so much. And I really feel we're going to talk about, again, I'm going to go a little bit through the plot, but I don't want to spoil.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it if a lot of people haven't seen this. And so, you know, we're going to do that. But really, I mean, there's so many personal things in here for me. I feel like if I were a character, I could be
her?
I could be Juliette Binoche in this.
Oh,
I really do,
okay.
and we'll talk about why.
I
But
love it.
I really feel like there's a lot of me in this character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no. Am I going to cry?
I
Give me
wish
a warning.
I wish it were my figure, but never mind.
Hey,
Anyway,
hey, you are beautiful.
all right. So, Chocolat.
Chocolat.
2000. So
Take
20
a drink
years.
every time we
I know.
say chocolat.
Chocolat, yeah. Or eat a piece of chocolate. Hey.
Ooh, yum.
Right?
That's better.
I know. 2000. 20
God.
years ago.
Stop that.
What? Shut the front door.
Stop that right
Shut
now.
the front door.
Ew.
Okay, it's considered a romantic drama.
What?
Right.
Okay.
I am going to challenge
You're gonna
that.
debunk
I'm going to
that?
challenge that.
Debunked.
It was released on 12/22, which makes it kind of a holiday film.
Love that. Christmassy.
Christmassy.
Holiday.
And as in true lore fashion, 2 hours and 1 minute it clocks in.
The movie.
Yeah.
Jeez, oh man.
Not 2 hours.
We don't got time
2
for that?
hours and 1 minute.
Oh my God.
It received 5 Academy Award nominations, but it didn't win any.
Wow, that's a bummer.
Right? So it is based on the 1999 novel by Joanne Harris by the same name, Chocolat.
Chocolat.
I'm going to butcher some names today.
Ooh,
I'm gonna
I love this.
I know. So directed by, I don't know if I'm saying this correct, Lasse Hallström, Lasse. How would you, Lasse?
Nailed it.
Swedish. Yeah?
I think so.
Hallström.
I don't know.
He directed it, and he's actually the husband of Lena Olin, who plays Josephine in the movie.
Okay.
Juliette Binoche plays Vienne.
Vienne. That's a pretty name.
I know. Dame Judi Dench plays Armand.
Do you have to say Dame every time you say her name? Not you, but in general. Are you supposed to?
I think that's the etiquette.
Is that
I think
proper
that's her
protocol?
I think that's her title. Yes.
okay? Yeah, Jake's Googling it, and it says Olivia Dench.
Jame. Did I say she said Jame Judy? Jame Judy.
Jame Judi Dench. Yes. Did I just butcher it even
You did.
more? It's not even my topic. I'll find a way. I will find a way.
Oh my gosh. So she plays Armand.
Okay.
Alfred Molina, who I
love him.
absolutely love because he played Diego Rivera in Frida.
He did.
He plays the Comte de Renaud. So I had to look up what is a Comte, and he's like the mayor of the town. So Lena Olin plays Josephine, and of course, Mr. Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp
plays Rue.
Okay.
So I have to say, I'm not the hugest Johnny Depp fan. I like him. I mean, I like him. But this movie and another movie called The Man Who Cried are my two favorite movies with Johnny Depp in them. I think he does excellent.
I've never seen The Man Who Cried.
What?
Is she going to disown me?
Oh my gosh. That is such a great movie. Such a great movie.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, like I said, this is considered a romantic drama. It takes place in the 1950s. I think that it's more of a fairy tale.
Ooh, okay.
And that's really what I want to talk about. We're going to talk about the plot a little, but I think it's a fairy tale. I mean, the movie opens with Once Upon a Time.
You're right. It does.
Yeah. Once upon a time, there was a quiet little village in the French countryside whose people believed in tranquility.
Okay.
Okay. And if you lived in the village, you understood what was expected of you. You knew your place in the scheme of things. And if you happened to forget, someone would help remind you.
Ew.
In the village, if you saw something you shouldn't see, you looked the other way.
Hey, was this the house we grew up in? Ooh, burn. Okay.
If your hopes had been disappointed, you learned never to ask for more.
Ooh,
The village held fast to their traditions until one day a sly wind blew in from the north.
Sly wind.
Okay. And I want, for people that watch this, and specifically you, if you go back and rewatch because you haven't seen it in a while, pay attention to your favorite color theory. Because
I already know.
When the movie opens, it is, but when the movie opens, what you're first seeing is gray,
right?
No color, very flat. Okay.
And she comes in.
So when the sly wind blows in from the north, here we go. We see these two people walking, cut to these two figures coming into town wearing these bright red cloaks.
Love it.
And it kind of reminds you of Red Riding Hood.
Okay.
And that was deliberate.
I love it.
Yeah, right? So kind of a fairy tale.
Love my color theory.
I know. So here comes the color. So we have Vienne and her daughter Anouk. And Anouk brings with her her invisible kangaroo, Pantouf.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's so cute.
Forgot about Pantouf. And they want to rent the deserted patisserie, which I had to look up.
I like how you said that. Patisserie.
The patisserie. Which is a bakery, right? And the apartment upstairs from Armand, which is Dame Judi Dench.
Dame
James Judi Dench. James. So you kind of get the hint from the conversation that they're having with her that they don't tend to stay in one place for very long. And that's kind of a running theme of the movie. But when she goes in to, rent the place, it looks like a hole. And she's taken the money from her and she's like, and I expect you to keep this in the, in good condition. And I'm thinking, oh my God.
It's not in good condition.
It reminds me of so many of the homes that we have lived in.
Stop that. I knew you were going to say that.
I'm not kidding because we have lived in some doozies, my friend.
Yeah.
We have lived in some places where there's literally one place we lived in. When I got in there, I stood in the kitchen and I cried. And I thought, how in the world am I going to make this place livable? And yet, in the scene where she just puts on her colorful clothes and she's scrubbing and painting and she transforms this place, it is beautiful.
I will give you that. I feel like that's one of your, magical powers is you can make any place feel like home. You really can.
I love what she does with this place, and it just really rings very reminiscent with me.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love that when she's painting such a pretty blue. Actually, that blue color that I love.
You do love that blue.
I do love that blue. Yeah. So, but it's kind of a surprise what she's turning the shop into. They don't tell. They don't say.
Could it be a chocolat? Chocolat shop.
A chocolaterie. So
We're such assholes.
So Alfred Molina plays the Count, and he's kind of the moral compass of this place.
Yeah.
He's the one that keeps everybody in their place, and it's all about abstinence and deprivation.
Okay, that sounds
Yeah.
awful.
Isn't he? Yeah. He's large and in charge. He rules the roost here. So he comes to introduce himself to Vienne and invite her to come to church, because really that's the only thing happening in this town. Church and morality. And
That's a no from me, dog.
and I'm out. So when Vienne tells him that, one, she don't go to church, and two, she's never been married and has a kid. Well,
And are you?
and then when he finally figures out that she's opening the chocolaterie during Lent, no doubt. We're in Lent.
How dare you?
We're in the midst of Lent. Well, he sets out he makes it his mission to get rid of her.
Okay.
Okay. So, it's not good. It's not good. It's all about deprivation. There's a point when when his maid brings him food or whatever, and he just leave it. I'm not going to eat. But he smells the jelly, and he's like, it's like he wants to eat it so bad, but he's not going.
Hold on.
He literally does that.
First of all, if you don't know, we record this and we put it on YouTube. You have to see what she just did with her.
If anyone's seen Silence of the Lambs with some fava beans,
Yes. Oh my God. That was fantastic.
Is that what it look like?
Oh,
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
gonna cry a little bit there.
Well, I'm glad I brought a chuckle to the masses. All right. Moving on, people.
You're gonna become a meme.
Oh, no. So, anywho, we figure out that she's opening a chocolaterie. A chocolaterie. And again, when we're talking about the color and just the visual appeal of this movie, we see her making the chocolate. Oh my God. It's beautiful. It's it's magic in and of itself.
Yes.
Watching her make all this stuff. A lot of goddesses happening in here.
Yes, for sure.
Which I love. At one point, because the banter goes back and forth with these two, and he comes in and she's like, would you like some nipples of Venus?
Some nipples of Venus. Yes.
She offers the Count these chocolates.
Oh yeah. That's
So
awesome.
eventually she opens up the chocolaterie during Lent, and he's already warned the townspeople, don't you go in there, but they're curious. And a few of them,
They've been depriving themselves of anything good.
they want some chocolate. So I'm not gonna, spoil the whole story, but needless to say, they start trickling in. Mm-hmm. And she has this wheel. It's like an Aztec or Mayan wheel where she says, come in and spin the wheel. And it's like her gift, her magic.
I love that.
She'll say, what do you see in the wheel? And then she says she has the gift to guess what your favorite chocolate would be.
Okay.
And kind of the different types of chocolate, do different things.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like raw cacao nibs. And, at one point she meets Josephine, who comes into the shop, who's kind of considered the town, oddball.
Okay.
She's very unhappy in her marriage. Her husband is an alcoholic and he beats her.
Oh, jeez.
And, and she talks to herself and she steals things. She's very unhappy. And so those two meet and she gives her a rose cream chocolate, which I find interesting because this woman is completely broken. And we know that rose
Heals the heart.
opens and heals the heart. And it gives her courage to kind of up and leave him. And that's something you don't do in that town. You look the other way when something is not right. Mm-hmm. But she kind of takes her in,
Aw.
and teaches her how to make chocolate. And it's funny because if you watch her clothing from the time we see her in the
Yep.
beginning throughout the movie, color, color, color.
Yeah.
And it's just so awesome. And I have
Beautiful.
to say, Juliette Binoche's outfits in this movie. So this movie takes place in the 1950s. I love, like, I don't consider myself to have much of a style.
That's not
but
true.
if I had a stylist, I would want that wardrobe from that movie.
I remember very specifically when we were trying to find out what you wanted to wear for my wedding, you pulled up pictures of her and you Yeah.
Because it's 1950s style, which you
love.
know is like my favorite era. The
for
50s
style.
for style for decorating.
Okay.
Like the color palette.
Yeah.
I love it. But yet it's still kind of boho.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like edgy, but with that 50s flair.
Okay.
So I
Yeah,
love that. If I ever have a stylist, that's
Hey,
what I want to
someone
look
out
like.
there?
Yeah, exactly. But so you can see, and her color, it's like the colors are just against the palette of the dank town. You know what I mean?
A subtle drag.
Yeah. But the townspeople were kind of like, oh, because he's gossiped about her and they think she's a witch and they think she's a radical. They call her, she's some kind of a radical. I think she's an atheist. One of the kids says, I
my
think she's an
God.
atheist. And the other kid goes, what's that? He goes, I don't know. But during this time, then we see the magic starts happening, right? So the magic starts happening and we see that she starts matchmaking and mending broken relationships. And again, I don't want to go too much into
All through her chocolate.
all through the chocolate, which
Right.
is really so magical. The one thing that I didn't see in a lot of my reading that they did not touch on, which I thought was such an important aspect of this movie that for me, and I wanted to touch on it. So every night when she put her daughter to bed, she wanted a story.
Okay.
And she always wanted to hear the story of her grandma and grandpa. So the one night she tells the story. And this is the story. George was a young apothecary, and he went in 1927 on an expedition in Central America to learn about medicinal properties of plants. Yes.
She's like, plants. Ah.
Yay! And he drank unrefined cacao with a pinch of chili. And it is the same that the ancient Mayans used in their ceremonies. They believed cacao had the power to unlock hidden yearnings and reveal destinies. And so it was that George first saw Jitsa. Okay. So the tribal elders warned George that Jitsa was one of the wanderers. Her people moved with the north wind from village to village, dispensing ancient remedies and never settling down. But oh, George, he did not listen. He married Jitsa, and they had a little girl named Vienne. And one morning when he awoke, he found them gone. And so that kind of gives you her backstory of why they travel, and they travel with Jitsa's ashes.
Okay.
You know?
Ouch.
Yeah.
You got to start giving me a warning.
I know. So in comes Rue, the love interest. His group of wandering people come into town on a boat,
Okay.
and they're going to set up, and kind of stay in the town a little bit. And they're told they are not wanted there. They're different and they're not accepted, and so they're trying to get rid of them. And she, of course, cottons right up to them and says, "Welcome,"
Yeah.
So she sways some of the townspeople her way with a party with lots of good food, but she claims that there's no dessert to be had because the dessert is on Rue's boat. And so she brings the townspeople there to get to know them and have a party and celebrate, and everybody gets along well until somebody who doesn't like them and wants to get rid of them kind of lights fire to everything.
Okay.
So long story short, not to give away the plot, but Rue decides that he and his people are going to move on, and this kind of, breaks the heart of Juliette Binoche because they've kind of like each other.
Falling in love.
So she feels that it's time now that the north wind is blowing that she's going to leave because she cannot win over the Count. He's making life too difficult. Mm-hmm. But she has made some friends that really love her there, and she ends up staying. And they're going to have this big chocolate festival. Yes, and like the Goddess Festival.
Chocolate festival. Woo.
I know. It's a fertility festival
Yeah.
on Easter Sunday.
Nice. Sounds dope.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So the Count decides that he's going to ruin things, goes in, breaks in, and he's starting to like chop up the chocolate and go crazy. And a piece of chocolate hits his lip, and he's done for. He goes like hog wild on this chocolate, and they find him laying in a chocolate coma the next morning. And actually, it was the last scene that Alfred Molina filmed because they were so afraid that he was going to get sick eating all the chocolate that it was his last day of filming. But
Chocolate hits his lip.
it just lands on his lip.
That's awesome. Me
I
every
know.
weekend. Okay.
So anyway, he realizes that he kind of is an asshole, right?
He's like, wait a minute.
And they decide that, they're going to get along, and, he can have church and she can have her fertility festival, and they can all get along in the town.
Yeah, fucking get over it, dude.
But anyway, the movie is really about rebellion and battling prejudice.
Yeah.
Okay? The movie is meant to teach us to accept people for who they are, regardless of their beliefs or what sins we think they may have committed. It is a fable to push people towards accepting those who they discriminate against simply because they don't understand their way of life.
Yes.
So when
Love
the
it.
cow
Beautiful message.
Yeah, right.
When the cow.
When the Count tries to run her out of town, he realizes that he is kind of wrong. And one of the things, so the preacher, that gives the service, he says that we can't go around measuring our goodness by what we don't do, what we deny ourselves, and what we resist, and who we exclude. We should measure ourselves by what we embrace, what we create, and who we include.
Okay, ow.
And Pierre Henry, or Henri, he was an Elvis fan. He was like dancing to Elvis. I had to get him in.
Like, was that 1,000% necessary?
It absolutely was.
Okay.
And I do want to say as a side note that Godiva was the official chocolatier of the movie. So they provided.
Ew, okay.
Yeah.
Do I like Godiva? That's why I said ew.
Yeah. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about, first, go watch this movie.
Yes.
2, I wanted to talk a little bit about cacao ceremonies.
Okay.
Did you know there was such a thing?
I actually have heard of this, but I would
Okay.
like you to teach me.
So they are used by the Aztec and Mayan people for centuries.
Okay.
Okay. And actually, cacao was a form of currency in those cultures. Cacao's place in these cultures was considered a sacred, elite, and a ritualistic plant, and was considered the food of the gods.
Okay.
It was served at all religious rituals of any importance. So birth, marriage, death, all of those. It was used in remedies for fatigue, for fevers, for digestive issues, as a nutrient, as a stimulator of the nervous system. It was considered to clear the mind for moments of pure self-reflection.
Okay.
It was used in fertility and to boost moods. And although some people think that it's a psychedelic, it is not.
It boosts my mood.
Right. But we're talking about chocolate in its pure form,
Yeah.
not like, doused in sugar and milk, like when we were at the Hershey factory. But
Okay.
you know what I mean?
am allergic to milk.
I
So
know.
I have had.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But I mean, when you're looking at chocolate in its
I
raw
know.
form, it is so healthy and
Yeah.
nutrient dense. I mean, it's considered a superfood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
So now there are a lot of people that there are modern cacao ceremonies that are kind of reflecting, and it was born out of the same ideas of the ancient cultures. So you can actually go to a cacao ceremony, and it provides insight into your life. Is the purpose.
Okay.
It's meant to connect you more to the natural world and entwine your spirit into the natural world. It is usually blessed by a shaman
Okay.
and served in its raw form.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you can attend these ceremonies and have a little bit of, some enlightenment, figure out where you're going in this world, your destiny.
I don't want to know. No.
Yeah. So they're kind of, mimicking or following suit from the ancient customs of these ceremonies. So, so what do you think about that?
I think that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Love that.
I'd like to go to a cacao ceremony.
Let's do it. Well, it might be a while. But
yeah. So a lot of times people will ask me about, chocolate in and of itself.
Okay.
So if you want to purchase chocolate that's, more of a superfood or more nutrient dense, if you get it as 70%
right.
or higher, cacao content.
I did know that.
Yeah, or you can just get the raw cacao nibs.
Yeah.
Or raw cacao powder, put in your smoothie or whatever. So that's where it's going to pack the nutrients and,
Yeah, so I knew that just because we use cacao nibs in a lot of our tea blends.
We do.
Yeah, so you've schooled me on this a little bit before.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I know.
Yeah.
And because I'm allergic to milk, so I kind of had to
go
the other direction with it.
Yeah.
I think it's tasty.
Yeah. Well, and I think like when you first are used to eating milk chocolate and then you go to the
It takes
dark,
a minute.
Yeah. It does. But now I cannot eat milk chocolate.
It's too sweet.
It's so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, so that's kind of my take on the movie Chocolat. I didn't want to go too deep into the meat of it because if a lot of people haven't seen it, please go watch this movie.
Right.
But I really, for me personally, I liked the magic of it. So it's considered what they call magical realism.
Okay.
Where it's not an overt or blatant magic, but it's sprinkled.
So this is what I was going to, so I, like I said before, if you follow us on social media, I talk to a lot of people in DMs a lot. And someone, I posted that you were doing this and someone asked, do you think that she was a witch in this movie? And to me, it was very blatant.
Yes.
Like, yeah, she's a witch. But I guess like you're saying, it was kind of meant to be a little more.
And they took it from, it was sprinkled with magic. Like if you really look at it, there was magic all throughout. But they didn't overtly say this was a movie. Because I said in the beginning it was a romantic drama.
Right.
So they're not like screaming magic, but it's sprinkled all throughout there. And really, again, playing up the fairy tale, the colors, the Red Riding Hood type, cloak. And it's told, her daughter's the one that's telling the story as an adult. So you're seeing it through the eyes of a child's experience, which makes it kind of more fairy tale-esque.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I like that.
Yeah.
That's not something I would have thought about, but I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just such a great movie and one I revisit often.
Yeah, I feel like if you are into like kitchen witchcraft,
kitchen witchery.
Is like
to watch her make the chocolate and the molds. And so a lot of people don't know this, but when you were a kid, I had when you were a kid and I was a single parent, and I know she's like, I hate you forever.
I'm getting angry.
Yeah, but I had a little
chocolate business.
I had a little chocolate business called Fern Gully Cottage Confections, and that is how I made money.
Girl, you make some good chocolate. However, if I had to curl one more ribbon on these motherfucking chocolate, oh my God. The guy in Elf, he's like 6-inch ribbon curls, 6 inches. That was her. I'm sitting there like at 1 a.m. curling these ribbons on these chocolate covered pretzels. And I'm like,
we took chocolate orders and that's how I paid for your Christmas presents many a year, my friend. So
thank you.
It sure is. But gosh, I made
I pay for them myself because I
curling
curled the ribbon.
Curling ribbon. You guys used to go to bed and I would stay up till like 3 or 4 in the morning. And the only thing that kept me awake, and I say this all the time, is my ELO double soundtrack. I love ELO for that reason. It harkens me back.
Oh, she got Elvis and ELO.
I got ELO. But we had some good chocolate. Man, her friends would come over and wipe it out.
They would
wipe it out.
You used to make chocolate covered marshmallows. Yeah, it's because we were all smoking weed. But
not me. I was the only one that wasn't. Yeah,
she's like, my chocolate's a hit. Meanwhile, we were all like fucking stoned. That's awful. I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did.
What
yeah,
am
you
I
did.
talking about?
And here, me, naive.
No, she's like, wow, I got something with this
Understand why they ate that
I'm
whole
just
bag of chips.
No, you do. You make some good chocolate covered pretzels, and you make some bomb chocolate covered marshmallows. Yeah, you're good at it.
The
You're good.
macaroons. Oh, my homemade peppermint patties.
Ooh.
Girl. And the peanut brittle.
I feel like
Forget
you
it.
definitely, I mean, you're obviously like plants is your thing, but you've got a little bit of kitchen witchery in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love to be in the kitchen.
Right.
Yeah. I definitely, and it's the same when we're making anything herbal, like the teas or anything.
Yeah.
It comes from, there's magic in the making.
100%.
Because you're putting that love and the intention into everything you make, and it's beautiful.
Look at how we connected again on our topics.
Bam!
It's all about intention.
Yeah. 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 This is a great movie. Just to watch her make the chocolate, it's just awesome.
And I think that it shows that there can be magic in like everyday rituals. Do you know, like maybe stuff that you do like with the holidays coming up, you're going to be holiday baking. That's kind of like,
Oh, yeah.
that's
It's
a magical, I love that.
Yeah. Well, I think some of it, like some kitchen witchery that is definitely magic is we used to grow our own little herb garden, and it would be like the Italian herb garden. I actually used to get like all these old Italian tins, like Italian cookies, and I'd plant the basil and the sage, and then we would make these awesome white pizzas, and I'd send you out. And this is kind of how you started learning. I'd send you out and I'd say, bring me the basil, bring me the oregano, bring me the thyme, bring me the rosemary, and that's kind of how you learned. And then we would take the tomatoes that we grew ourselves, and that was the best white pizza ever.
It's very rewarding.
It is. And it's like a labor of love.
It is.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest message of this movie is like the love and intention she put into what she was making and then how it affected other people.
Absolutely.
I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah, and I think too, I think there were seductive notes in this. Obviously, the chocolate is considered an aphrodisiac, and it's considered the sultry,
Right.
But that's not the main focus, and I liked that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They
It
didn't
was
rely
about
too heavily
love
on that.
in general, bringing people together, breaking people out of their,
Yeah.
I don't know, what's the word I'm
I don't
looking
know.
at?
Chocolate covered shells.
Yes.
Yeah, they're chocolate
Thank you
covered
for
shells,
that.
right? Thank you.
Yes.
But you know what I mean?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Loosening them up a bit.
Yeah.
Loosey-goosey, baby.
Loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I do think if you haven't seen this movie, go check it out.
check it
I
out.
think that it is a great example of magic in a movie. Like you said, it's not hitting you over the head with it. But to answer the question, yes, I do believe she is a witch. I believe she is a kitchen witch. Beautiful
Love
film.
it. Yes, so good. It's a good snuggle up with your honeykins.
With your hot chocolate.
Oh, with your hot chocolate. Yeah. Marshmallows.
Gotta have the marshmallows.
Gotta have the marshmallows.
Oh,
yes.
Wow, beautiful.
Wonderful.
Good job, Laura.
Good job, Leigh.
Oh, wow, thanks. Up top.
Woo. All right.
All right, and with that, you know what time it is.
What time is it?
It's time for Killer Quotes of the Week.
Sweet.
Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na.
Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da.
All right, my killer quote of the week is mortal see, mortal do. And that is from Marnie from Halloween Town. Suck it, Lore. And that was sent in by Nature Witch Ash. Thanks.
Oh my gosh. All right. Mine is so I love it. I love it.
Just love
I
it.
love it. We are the weirdos, mister. And that is from The Craft. And that was sent in by Steph. And we love you. Thank you for sending that in. That was
love you,
awesome.
Steph.
We love you.
So if you guys want to be next week's Killer Quote of the Week, make sure to follow us on social media at Uncle Bob's Magic Cabinet on Instagram, and we will tell you what to do, and you can send in your Killer Quotes of the Week.
Awesome.
Oh my God.
All right.
Yeah, make sure you tune in next week. I'm going to give you
Got surprises.
a little heads up. We've got a lot of surprises coming up.
Yes.
There's a lot of big news happening here at Uncle Bob's. So
Yes.
make sure you tune in next week so you don't miss out. Ooh,
Yeah.
yikes. I'm never going to do that again.
All right. Well, until next week, TTFN.
All right, guys, cut, print, check the gate. Moving on.